and welcome to Life's Nuggets with Susan and Patricia.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, I'm Patricia.
I'm Susan.
And we are talking about actually a really serious topic today, Susan.
It is.
How are we dealing with anxiety in today's political climate? Like, it's
Yes.
very stressful.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but it seems like every time I turn on the news, every time I open up Facebook, anytime I kind of look anywhere, all you see is the political climate.
Yeah.
And, I have no idea really how the Americans are dealing with it because we're Canadians and there's been a threat to our sovereignty.
Yeah.
Which I don't know about you, but makes me bloody angry that this is happening.
Yeah, it makes me sad and angry. It makes me sad when I see what's happening down there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just think, wow, like 5-10 years ago, we'd never have thought we'd be in this position, right?
No.
I just don't think it entered anybody or not many people's radar. And now it's just like you said, every single day, it's nonstop. And things change, right? And I think that's what creates this anxiety, right? Is you almost want to keep reaching to see, oh my gosh, what's changed next? It's like this really bad addiction, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, like how many times can I press my BBC app to see what's going on and what has changed since this morning? It is stressful. It really is.
It's really stressful. And like, did you ever think, like, even if we just go back the last few years, that women's rights would be at risk the way they are now? I mean, and it's starting in the US, but,
Trickle.
it's here too.
Yeah.
It's kind of going all over the place. And that to me is absolutely shocking that we are in this place. How come we're going backwards instead of forwards? Yeah.
It's weird and I can't put my finger on it because there are moments I think we're gaining traction as a society, like north of the border. And then there are days I'm like, no, we're not. I feel like we're treading water. And for me, one of the ways to try and, I don't know, kind of, you can't get rid of that anxiety, but I think to put it on pause is literally to get outside without my phone.
Yes.
Like to
absolutely.
just leave it, let it be, and to remind myself that I actually have a life that's going on, right? Things like this podcast that need to get done regardless of what's actually happening in the news. And I think that's where we can get really lost, right?
Agreed. We need to switch off. I mean, there's that idea that it's like, what's happening next? I need to be prepared. I need to do all of that. But you know what? It's so bad for our mental health.
So bad,
we're on this constant, our nervous system is constantly wired on that fight or flight. And that's just so unhealthy. So disconnect. Don't watch the news every day or
choose a time. Do you know what I mean? If you do feel that you have to watch it, then maybe choose a time that you can then do something about it afterwards. So do you know what I mean? If it's something that really does kind of wind you up physically, maybe watch the news before you go to the gym, right? Or
I like that.
Watch it before you actually go and work out or walk, or because I look at it first thing in the morning and then I go and walk. So any frustrations, I've walked them off by the time I get back home. But it's true.
Such a great way how to de-stress.
Because
I love it.
The stress is physical.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
That reaction to what we read and see, and I don't think people always realize that, is we store it, we accumulate it. And if we can't get rid of it, it stays.
100%. Yeah. And I don't know that a lot of people know that, right? There is this mind-body connection. It can be really unhealthy.
Huge.
You got to get it out of the body.
Yeah. So I find, even if you're going to, like the weather's getting better, you could go out and garden, you could go out and, I was going to say rake the leaves, but that would be for the fall. But do something.
Do something.
Right? I think the worst thing we can do is to listen to those things and then expect that we can maybe some people can, but focus on the work we have to do, it can be really tricky.
Right.
So that personally I find can be helpful.
Agreed. I think also the thing is you got to be careful what you're reading. Have reliable sources.
Yeah.
And fact check.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on Facebook, personal page. And there's so much
Dangerous
stuff.
place to be.
It's become so dangerous just in the last little while.
Yeah.
And there was this guy, I don't know if you've heard this, Susan, but there's this great story about Carney, our current prime minister who went to Europe. And there's this whole, like, he orchestrated in some of these other countries are buying US Treasury bills, and how that can affect Trump and what's happening down south. It sounds like a really good story. It actually made me feel better that we had some sort of bargaining chip, that we weren't, that we had, that we're being proactive, that we have some sort of control. Yeah, no, fact checked it.
Not
Great
true.
story. I mean, maybe it is true, but there's
Maybe it's
nothing
twisted,
concrete
yeah.
yet. Nothing has come out. Nobody's confirmed it. So you have to be really, really careful about what it is you're watching. Yeah.
Well, I was listening to just the news the other day, and it was a reporter they had come on who was talking about how she deals with this, right? Because it's her living to stay in touch with everything. And the thing is, I think, again, they mentioned that before we had the social media and people could vent their opinions and their voices and things on like all these different platforms that we have, the only place that we could go to get this information was newspapers and the news. The nuance now is that news is mixed in with social media and it's become mainstream. And so therefore it isn't just like you were saying, right? It's not just pure news anymore. It's not just facts. It's not just information. It's opinions and thoughts that anybody can share. And I think it is true that, like she was saying, you have to go to a source.
Yes.
And that's why, honestly, Patricia, on Facebook now, as soon as I see like a written piece or something about what's happening down south, maybe it's bad, I don't know, but very rarely do I read it, because I did once upon a time, and then sometimes I go through the comments, and just like you said, it can get really nasty. And I'm like, these people often don't even know each other. Yeah. And you can feel in what they're writing, like you can feel the vibe that there is so weird. And I just thought, I don't need that.
No.
Right? As we've just said, there's enough stress and anxiety. So I try and find, where possible, reliable news sources and stick to that.
Yeah.
Right.
And when this all started, like I felt so anxious, wondering where are we going? What's going to happen to us? And feeling powerless. And so I think doing what you can do, which is, buy Canadian and help our economy and support each other. But also don't lose your dreams and your goals. And I found myself a little bit kind of like, like I don't really have any, again, I don't feel like I have any power, but to reclaim that, we have to have purpose in life. We need to have something that excites us. We need to continue to move forward. So even if it feels really heavy, take those really small steps and keep working towards yourself, your family, whatever it is that you want, and keep being excited, because this too will pass.
It will.
We hope. Eventually.
It will. It has to. Come on. Everything has to come to an end. We know that. Yes. No, you know what? I think that's a really good idea, because we can just feel like this Groundhog Day, right? Yes. Every day you wake up and every day it's, has this changed? Has that changed? There's more bad news. Like, how can we keep saying there's more bad news? It's just bad news on the whole. However, I do also think there's good things, right? And I think we can get sucked into this, like there's only bad news out there. Yeah, but I think we also have to look for good things going on. And I agree with you, like getting involved maybe in your local community where you can have an impact.
Yes.
Right? And I think that can make a big difference, right? You feel like there's a value, just like you said. You have a purpose, because that we can do something about. right?
Absolutely. And I love when you said, it's doing something positive, because I'm also thinking that the flip side to all this bad news is look at how we're uniting.
Yes.
And things are changing. Policies are changing here in Canada. At least they will be. And,
we did it in some way. In a weird way, we could have chosen a different way to receive this information.
Yes.
Right? Maybe we could have had a nicer tablet to take, as medicine. But I agree with you. We needed a little bit of a shake-up. I think we've become a bit complacent.
I completely agree. And sometimes some of the hardest times in our lives can be blessings, and this is personally as well. Some of really difficult times in my life made me have to take a look and make changes and go forward from there. And it's always ended up being really positive. Yeah. So that's the bright side to all of this. Yes.
Pain always passes, we hope.
We hope, yes. So we hope just that everybody takes care of themselves. If you find a little thing in here that maybe helped you to deal with this anxiety, turn things off.
This is it. Reach out to friends in a positive way, right? If you can do something and you have a few minutes that can help somebody, do it.
Reach out.
Because at the end of the day, you benefit from it too, right? It isn't just them, it's not a question of being selfless or not. I just think it's the right thing to do if you can. Right?
I completely agree with you. Reach out. This is such a good opportunity, especially after COVID. We've all been so insulated. Let's, this is a good opportunity. Check on each other, go out, have some fun, have some drinks, have a good time.
This is
and connect and be there for each other.
Yeah, and just a tiny example before we go. I saw on our mailing list this morning, we have a neighborhood mailing list. Somebody had found a little kitten yesterday, and they were mailing again this morning saying nobody'd come forth. They were going to take it to the Humane Society before lunchtime if somebody could reach out before then, if anybody knew. And then there was another lady who's like, hey, I think I may have found somebody who'd like the kitten, here's my details, please call me. And I'm like, yay, there's still good people,
community.
Because my reaction was, hey, I'll take it. And I'm like, no, there's enough pets in the house.
And community, like, working together, supporting each other.
I saw that and I thought, perfect. Hopefully this little kitten's found somewhere. So I think we have to remember those.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk soon.
We will talk very soon. Bye.
Bye.